everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome as we continue to go through my top heroes, or my rating of all the X-Men United heroes. Now we're getting close to the top 30 to 21. Some real heavy hitters, and like literally, in this set. Some of the stuff from the core set. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to take a look at it. So let's get started. Okay, let's start with one of my top characters in the Marvel Universe, and that's Kitty Pryde. Cool miniature here where she's coming through the wall, and she comes with Lockheed, another cool miniature who somehow is suspended on flame. Just a great little model. So you'll notice she has a ton of special cards, and so her starting special card, which you'll play probably right away, you put Lockheed in play in your location or an adjacent one, and as long as it's face up, you can use your move to move Lockheed instead. Okay, so that's pretty cool. If it gets turned face down, it's problematic because Lockheed gets stuck. A problem is, though, you'll notice all our special cards, a damage, 2 damage where Lockheed is. Here you can't take any damage. These don't affect Lockheed, but you get some tokens instead, heroic tokens, that's good. These are great cards, by the way. Here you get stuff that Lockheed's in. Here you get stuff that Lockheed's in. Here you can move with other heroes. So she has 2 things. The phasing, not taking damage, or move with other heroes, and stuff where Lockheed is at. Here is my concern with her and why she's not like in my top 5, because when I read this I was like, yes! But it's essentially like she is a clone of sorts. So she doesn't have a ton of special abilities. She has not a ton of icons. She's not super powerful. Her and Lockheed together can be powerful, but it's almost as if she's split into 2. It's not that Lockheed is doing extra damage, it's that he is doing damage instead of her. So that's not as cool as it could be if she was moving and then Lockheed was also blasting enemies. I'd be much more on board with that, but as it is, I feel like, again, it's still fun to play. It's still neat to use. It's a fun person to play, but I felt a little limited, and I just felt like I'm either using Kitty or I'm using Lockheed. I'm not really using both, or I'm using both and they're just not as powerful. So that's why she's not higher, but she's still a lot of fun to play. Here we have another character from the base game, Mystique, who was a villain, but in this case is a hero. Mystique has 2 cards that start in her starting hand. And these are both metamorph cards. On the next villain turn, you can redirect any damage to a henchman or thugs in your location. I don't know why that amuses me so much, but this alone puts her high on my list because I think that's hilarious to take damage that the enemy's going to do to me and make it go into a small person instead. She also has these Spy Master cards, which basically the next Master Card plan can't add stuff to your location or one of 2 adjacent ones, so she can stop overflows. That on top of, she has decent movement and great attack. Not very strong heroics, but you can't have everything. Well, at least she can't have everything. I still think she's worth playing as a hero. A lot of fun. Okay, now we have Boom Boom. Terrible name, don't like the character, but she likes to throw, like, bombs. In fact, she comes with some bomb tokens, and she can place these tokens in her location or adjacent one at the start of the next villain turn, remove the token, do damage to everything else in that location, and discard all the people there. Now, unlike some of the cards where people show up, this happens at the start of a turn. So just don't make sure there's no people there, and it's a really great way to clear things out. And I don't know why, I just think that it's a fun to put a bomb. And then she also just has this meltdown, which does 2 damage on a single target in an adjacent location, which when the villain's under pressure, being able to move and then hit adjacent, a range attack, is pretty solid. As you can see, she has pretty good move. Attack's not great. Well, when you count these, her attack is pretty good. Heroics is pretty low, but she's fun to use with the bombs, thus she's higher on my list. Dazzler, who can shoot light at things, and she's a really good singer. Feels like an anime character crossed into the X-Men universe. You know what, though? I like her, because she has 2 cards that are basically 2 sides of the coin, where she gets heroic tokens equal to the number of thugs in a location, and attack tokens equal to the number of citizens in that location. Man, I like that one. Those work really well. You go to the right spot at the right time and you have a move on the cards so you can get there. Her attack, meh. Her heroics, okay. Her move is very, very good. But then with the tokens, again, there definitely could be arguments made that several of the characters I'm talking about in this particular instance aren't very powerful, but they're just fun for me to play, and that's where Dazzler's at. Now we come to when I have my daughter paint these, the very first model I'm going to have her paint because I love the Thing so much. The Thing. All right, so the Thing starts with rock-like skin, where basically he can ignore 1 damage on a villain's turn. Not very unique. There's a lot of characters that have that. But I also want you to notice the Thing has a lot of attack power. He is possibly the strongest or one of the strongest characters in the game, especially when his special cards are taken into account. He's part of the Fantastic Four. He is number 3 on my favorite characters from the Fantastic Four, the 3rd highest. I mean, he's actually number 2. He has the teamwork cards. So the teamwork cards, you use everything that's on the Fantastic Four card, which at the beginning there's nothing, but then you add tokens to it, which makes it stronger. So he works well with the Fantastic Four. The clobbering time, being one of my favorite phrases in the Marvel Universe, that does 2 and then 2 against a different target. So there's not many times you get to do a full 2 damage to 2 different characters, but try the Thing against the Sinister Six. Anyhow, so that, just with powerful cards, he's just fun. You bring it in the Thing, and you know the villain's shaking in their boots at least a little. Oh man, do I like Gambit. He's just a fun one to mess around with. So he has decent icons. Lots of good move, okay heroics, decent fighting. And Master Thief gives him a token, a wild token, and an action token of your choice from each other hero. Okay, that's kind of terrible, but you know what? You're all on the same team. And then he can throw an action token to do 3 damage to an adjacent location. Very thematic, very fun. I like tokens. Any character that uses tokens is okay by me. And the fact that he can throw them at an adjacent location, I just love that idea. So it's really cool and he's fun to play with. So very close to the Thing, we have Colossus, who's not part of the Fantastic Four, but I ranked him a little higher than the Thing. So his starting hand, organic steel body, you can ignore 1 damage. Yeah, a lot of people have that. It's his fastball special, so he's not as strong as the Thing. He's pretty strong, but has, not quite as strong. But the fastball special, where you pick a hero from your location to an adjacent location, they show their hands and deal as much damage as is shown at the bottom of their cards. Oh my word. Now he does this with Wolverine in the comics all the time. He's done it with a few other characters, but with Wolverine, that's his main person. But you can set up such an amazing play. You could do 4, 5 damage with a single attack, and it feels so satisfying that I had to put him on the list because I get just such a joy out of doing that. Fastball special, baby. Next, we have Multiple Man, who is another one of my favorite characters from the comics, and I don't know how powerful he is. I've never been able to match him to get him to do that fantastic, but he's so much fun. Notice that every single one of his cards has 2 symbols. But this card, what you start with, as long as it's face up, you can place a dupe token in your location. So these are dupe tokens. You get several of them. They take place of a regular person that you'd rescue. You can use these actions, heroic and attack actions, as if you were in a dupe's location. That's pretty awesome. So you can drop dupes everywhere. Now, they do definitely make the possibility of overflows happen. So you have to keep that in mind, and you can spread them with this. You can move them in different locations, and then you can just pull them off the board and draw a card for each token that's removed. So if you're not feeling really good, you can pull them off, and then dupes a symbol, which lets every dupe do 1 free heroic or attack action, and then they get removed off the board. If you have the patience to pull that off. Now, I've had some very mad games of this because this gets turned over instantly. So it's a big weakness. If Multiple Man's card is turned over, especially when it happens early, it can be very devastating to him. And it actually makes him a lot less fun to play. But if that's not turned over, then he's a fantastic character and the dupes are just running all over the board. And it's silly fun and I love it. Good old Hank McCoy here, the Beast. I like him better than the first class version. Pretty simple, easy to play, has not a ton of attack, although he has 4 cards that are all move and attack. He has a lot of double icon cards. He also has a lot of heroics. So the Beast here is pretty strong with heroics, some of the best in the game. And man, he's just a lot of fun to play with. The fact that you can use heroics as wilds with 2 of his cards, and he can fill back up to 3 cards if he needs to. Very easy to play, great for first-time players, And again, that makes sense because he comes in the core box, but just a lot of fun. And then finally, just outside the top 20, we have Hope Summers. Now, Hope Summers has a lot of good abilities. She has some strength, okay movement, not great movement, okay heroics, and she has these special cards. So she has Denying here. The next Master Plan card is played face down. Then remove the next one out of play. I don't know how often I want to use that. It does give you some breathing room near the end of the game, but it does speed the game up. It's easy Embracing Destinies here. She can discard a card to just clear a threat location. Now, the first time she does this, she has to discard 2 cards. But after that, you can, it's just so easy to get rid of threats. When she's in a game, so if you're playing with her, you almost should take people who have less heroics. You pair her up with a couple people who are good at fighting. Let her handle the threats, or I guess even if they're just, any threat really, it doesn't matter. It's such an interesting character. I think she's the best at getting rid of threats. The problem is she's not, she kind of is very dangerous. Like, I've been talking a lot about characters. If it's your first game to give the person, not Hope Summers, for sure. Because she has unchecked power in a sense, which again makes sense thematically, and I like how they fit that in. Cool action sequence character here. I really like this. And she's a really neat character, but be careful when using her. I'm often amused how some of the characters that I don't like at all are so powerful and cool that I think they're fun to play with in this game, and then characters that I love might not be as much. However, Shadowcat and Multiple Man and Thing are some of my favorite characters in the universe. Actually, so is Gambit, Hope, and Colossus, and Beast. Yeah, it's fun. These are just fun characters to play, but there are 20 more to go. We'll see you next time then. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.